Good morning. We're here on the 17th of November for the original three to run this meeting today. I think Commissioner Rothstein's at his project he started 15 years ago at Fort Meade there, and Commissioner Boucher's walking
the park, I think.
Walk in the park, I think, today. So, as usual, we're going to start with pledge to the flag and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we have, as usual, we're going to open with, I guess, Priority Carol. You like the space?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the space, actually.
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney, can I make a motion that we go back to 3 instead of 5? Or is that something you got to do I mean, I'm not familiar with the process.
I'll second that. Anyway, Commissioner Fraser, you have some Priority Carol items?
Actually, I don't have anything for Priority Carol because I didn't go through my calendar. I've done a few things this past week. I just can't remember off the top of my head what they were, and I didn't go through them this morning. So nothing except enjoy Thanksgiving.
That's, actually, you were on TV.
Was I?
This-
Oh, yeah, I was on chat for
this Friday?
I forgot about that, but yeah. But all right, Commissioner Weaver and I were down at Gerstel Academy for their Veterans Day program. It's actually kind of a funny story, but not for Commissioner Weaver. They had
Then I need to hear it.
they had us down here, and they had a reporter from Fox 45 was there, and in between segments, they were cutting to back and forth between the reporter and talking about Gerstel and the things they were doing. So they get to us, and they're saying, okay, we have a minute and a half. There's Commissioner Weaver, there's myself, and Senator Reedy were there. A minute and a half, all three of us. You get like 30 seconds apiece. She's going to ask us each a
I
question.
thought they said a minute and a half each.
Yeah, I know. So we go through. They start with Commissioner Weaver because he's a veteran in the group, and she asked Commissioner Weaver a question. And when he got done, the minute and a half was gone. There's no time for anyone else to speak. And that's okay, Commissioner Weaver, because then after that they cut away. Then they recorded a message from me and from Justin Reedy, and I heard that later in the day they cut Commissioner Weaver out and they put my message on, which made much more sense, by the way.
Well, I think the two of us got on, and
So it worked out well that way. I'm glad I forgot about that, but that was good. All right, that's all I have.
Mr. Wentz.
I never want to hear you talk about me being long-winded again.
I
In
felt
the next 17 days, I don't want you...
I
I
felt
said-
like a Wentz at that
I said
point.
never start with Weaver or Waynes if you're going to only have a minute and a half. Let's not do that.
Well, good morning. Did quite a few things this week on my farewell tour. Attended the Tawnytown Town Council meeting on Tuesday evening, and when I first came in, I tried to be a little bit more engaged than previous folks with our municipality. So I attended my two towns as much as I could, Manchester and Tawnytown. So anyway, it was kind of a bittersweet moment for me because by now everybody knows I grew up in Tawnytown, and
Really?
you know that's my
FSK.
stomping ground. I went to the Francis Scott Key High. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me talk about that for a minute.
I think it's the first you've heard about this. Go ahead.
Anyway, had the opportunity to say farewell to the folks in Tawnytown, and also took the opportunity. Look at that. And also, where'd you get that, Swami? Jeez.
He's good.
Yeah, he is good.
You had to wake those people up in the back.
So it was also a chance for me to welcome Joe Vigliotti, who will be in this seat starting on December the 5th. So they said goodbye to Joe up there. Joe's been on the council up there for 9 years. Anyway, they had a little ceremony for him, and it was good. So again, I want to say, you know, we're the county is really lucky to have the 8 municipalities that we have, because in my travels around the state, you hear about some of these towns and some of these counties, and they don't even talk. So we have some good relationships with all 8 of our municipalities. Carroll Community College attended the meeting last night. Another one of the final ones that I'll be there. Dick, I think you were on the college maybe once, but Dennis and you and I sort of tag teamed that back and forth a little bit. But anyway, it was nice to hear from them, and it's nice to know again that we've got the #1 community college in the state of Maryland, and that's another feather in the cap for Carroll. So kudos to the college and everything that they do and will continue to do. ESAC had a good meeting last night. As most of you know, the first stage of this new combination department is we're in high gear, and we've got the applications, or you can apply now for some of the first positions, which are lieutenants, and I think there's 12 of those, if I'm not mistaken, and we're getting a good many applicants. So that's very I'm encouraged by that, because there was talk about the fact that, because everybody's hiring, going to be a little limited, but we're doing really well with applicants. So kudos to everybody who worked on that, and that wasn't easy. And as most of you know, back when I gave my first speech in 2014, that was the one thing that I said we really need to focus on. And lo and behold, I know. Lo and behold, almost at the end here, we are there. So thank you to everyone that's gotten us this far, and sky's the limit as we continue to do that. And the volunteers are working very well in the process as well. So kudos to everybody there. Stopped up at Charles Carroll again. Didn't get a chance to meet with our folks. I did a stealth flyby up there just to see how they're doing, and that continues to roll along. There's blacktop now, so you probably wouldn't even trip and fall now.
So it's safe for me to walk up there again.
There is,
Okay.
if you'd like to stop up, I think it's safe. So there's blacktop there. So that's it's really coming together. So it really looks good up there. Thank you to all our veterans again. Commissioner Weaver, you did an awesome job, as did Commissioner Rothstein, in making sure that the Veterans Day ceremonies were front and center here in the county, and a lot of the high schools did their thing. So kudos to everybody, and we wouldn't be where we are without the folks that have allowed us to do these things. And a shameless commercial. On Monday evening, November the 28th, the award-winning Westminster Municipal Band will be giving their holiday concert at Carroll Community College at 7 p.m. I would insist that everyone drop everything they're doing on Monday, November the 28th, and come listen to what is going to be a great event.
Do you need tickets?
Nope. Free to the public. We take a donation at the door. Really, all kidding aside, it's an incredibly talented group of musicians, and that concert's really neat. So if you've got something planned, change it and come to the college. November 28th, 7 p.m. I think that's it,
Okay.
other than I got some words I want to share with my 2 colleagues, but I'll wait till the end on that, because I didn't know we were going to have this opportunity with the 3 amigos that have been here for 8 years and have seen how we could all write a book.
Yeah, I even have a chapter for you in it. So.
So we'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
I got a couple things I want to say to you, too. So,
As Commissioner Frazier said, we were at Christelle on Friday for the veterans event, and one unique thing about that, they have the kids ask questions. And one question, what did you eat? And we had different answers, I think, from the audience, from the people there. But it was a neat thing to see and do. And the Farm Museum, December 1st, has their opening for the Christmas year. I think Santa's there on weekends now, and they have some unique programs. Please check them out, and it's a nice family event thing to do. The Veterans Council did meet whatever day it was this week, Tuesday, and they are working on maybe a little bit of a marketing program to veterans throughout the county. They're looking to find some funds to help that out, and I think now it's something like $59 million have been secured to the Veterans Council, coming back as benefits to people in Carroll County since its inception, which is very good. And I do appreciate all the support for the Mad Dog Shuttle and all the other programs we have out there. We do have the veteran service officers to help everybody get the services they earned, and it's a very good program. And their meetings last for 1 hour, start to finish, and that's one unique thing. They are on target, they follow the agenda, a 1 hour meeting, and that is it. Okay, so
Other groups should take note of that.
yeah, everybody take note of that. So anything else for Priority Carroll? Then let's move into the agenda. We first have Rural Legacy Program, option to purchase property. We have Mr. J.P. Smith Jr., Program Manager, and Jackie Bethune, Preservation Specialist.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. We're here today to talk about a property for the Rural Legacy Program. The Rural Legacy Program is sponsored by a grant from the Department of Natural Resources, 100%. We have two Rural Legacy areas in Carroll County, the Little Pipe Creek Rural Legacy area and the Upper Patapsco Rural Legacy area. Little Pipe Creek is around Tawnytown, Union Bridge, New Windsor, and the Upper Patapsco is mostly Manchester and Hampstead. We use a points-based appraisal system to value the properties, and with the Rural Legacy Program we have no soil qualification, so this will take in very steep slope soils and wet ground as well. For the most part, Rural Legacy wants to protect natural resources such as streams and woods and the like. So this program can also accommodate large or small farms. So there's a lot of niche properties that fit into this program. So today we're here to talk about Chris and Courtney Sterner property for the Upper Patapsco Rural Legacy Program. They are just east of Manchester. They are located at 3421 Tracy's Mill Road. The property consists of 51.8 acres, and we will be retiring 5 lot rights. The fair market value of the land is $324,154, and that's based on our points-based appraisal. And the cost of the easement will be $226,908.09, which equates to $4,380.13 per acre. And that is 70% of the fair market value of the land only of the property. And like I said, this is all paid for 100% with a grant from the DNR. This is the farm as it sits on Tracy's Mill Road. It's on both sides of the road. The house there is on the southeast side, and the barns, some of the barns are there on the northwest side of Tracy's Mill Road along Stony Lane.
So both sides of the road, JP, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is how it sits, right next to another county easement. Mr. Sterner works for Panora Acres just down the road. They farm his farm, and they also have several different types of animals on their property that they raise. Picture of the farm.
It's gorgeous.
It's a beautiful place. And today we're here to request for final approval for the Chris and Courtney Sterner property at 3421 Tracy's Mill Road in Manchester, 51.8 acres, 5 lot rights retired at a cost of $226,908.09. all state grant funds.
Looks good. I just went by there yesterday. Tracy's Mill Road.
Yeah, this
So,
is a good program to put in.
yeah. So it's a no-brainer again for this one. So, I'm going to move that we exercise the option to purchase a rural legacy program conservation easement on the Chris and Courtney Sterner property.
And I'm going to second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Three
Commissioners.
in
you.
favor. Thank you.
Just a
Yes, sir.
question. Should have asked it before. It doesn't matter now, but whatever. When they have the outbuildings like that, they're right up against the road. Is that sometimes an issue or a factor when they're looking at these things, or is that not a big deal because of
No.
easements or whatever that, future or something? I don't know.
No, we don't really take that into consideration.
Okay,
Um,
because this one's right on the road.
Yeah.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you,
I mean, I can
if you
think of a
blink and hit the
few.
barn, then there's going to be people there that are in blue uniforms or something. Probably, I don't know. So maybe.
That turn of the century when that barn was built, it was probably a plus to be right next to the road. Now it's
That's true.
detriment to us.
Yeah, I
but
was just
times
curious
change.
when you've got something that when they're sitting right next to something like that, it's no,
Yeah, we don't really look at where the buildings are located. If somebody wants to put or move their house or something like that, then that's something we would take into consideration.
right.
So,
Okay, I was just curious. Good farm. Okay,
Thank you so much.
very good.
Thank you. Okay, let's move into civil rights policy update. And Mr. Burke, I think this is going to be yours with Debbie Stanford and Christy Bixler.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is an item that originated from our grants office. They received notification from the Department of Homeland Security that there's a new Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Division, and they're going to be the watchdog of grant recipients to make sure that they're complying with all federal civil rights laws. And what we have several policies in place in the county, and what we took upon ourselves at this point is to cobble them all together, put them into a single policy which we could submit to this Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties and be in compliance with all our grants. So what you have before you is nothing new. It's merely been slightly updated and put together in one document. And Christy or Deb, do you have anything to add? Or?
When was the last time these things were looked at here in the county? These particular, all of these.
Well,
I mean,
it depends
and the reason
on-
I ask is because I hope they're up to date with
They were
with
pretty
the way
well.
current things are. You know how they're. That's a moving, ever moving issue.
They were definitely
So-
up to date. The little bit of change that we made was that some of the reporting times, like on ADA, the reporting time was different from on Title VI.
Discrimination,
Yeah, on Title VI. So we made the reporting times equivalent and our response times.
Just updating the forms, making sure there was a process for people to follow, that it was clear in the policy.
Okay.
And then for the specific grant, like transit has to submit this and housing has to submit this. We're trying to make that consistent across the county so everybody has a single policy that they can submit and they're
Okay.
not having to write their own.
So any grant that comes down from FEMA, or I guess, or will go through. This will be one door they'd have to walk through.
Yes. So
Okay.
this specifically was triggered by the Assistance to Firefighter grant that we just received for the radios. And then all of the other public safety grants also have this. So all the operating grants, UASC, SHIZ, have this requirement now. But this office will serve as the clearinghouse for all federal granting agencies. So they'll be, like they do for our single audit, every federal agency will have access to our compliance documents to see whether we're compliant, because it's a requirement of all of our federal grants.
Okay.
So in short, if you want the grant money, you got to do this. Courtesy of our federal government.
Thank you for your honesty.
Well, the only thing we've done, we've taken what we already have and put it all together, so it's easy to access and to hand out. 'Cause
Yeah.
we've already been doing all of this. I just want to make that clear to everybody out there.
It's
Yeah.
all federal law we've been following
Right.
for many, many
Right.
years.
Okay. And that was the reason I guess I asked whether it was up to date or not, because I want to make sure that I haven't seen it, I'm relying on staff, which I do all the time anyway, because y'all are pretty good at what you do. I just want to make sure it's up to date and,
And it was just an opportunity to review everything and,
Okay.
and streamline it.
Right. Okay, I'll make the motion. The Board of County Commissioners approve the civil rights policy.
Second.
Motion's made and finally second. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Thank you. So now we're going to consolidate.
share.
Now we're going to look at the purchase of portable and mobile radios. Ms. Maureen Dunn and Scott Campbell, Director of Public Safety. And looks like we have an audience of fire and police here to help us.
Really?
I apologize, I'm interrupting Ms. Dunn, but Commissioners, if I may, before we get into this, I want to thank Chief Robinson, Director of Fire and EMS, and I know it's Colonel Hart, Chief Deputy, is that right? And Major STEM, but you're Commander of, or of something? Operations. Pardon? Commander of Operations. Commander of Operations. The reason why I want to acknowledge them is what we're going to talk about here shortly. These are your subject matter experts as far as the individual agencies that are referenced. So they were very kind to agree to be here in case they could field any questions you may have.
So
about
this is
their
going to be a
agencies.
combined effort,
There's no question that this is an example of a multi-agency effort.
which I love to see. Okay.
So
Now
are
I'll
we
be
doing,
quiet and let Ms. Dunn do her.
is one fire and one law
Yes, sir.
enforcement?
Exactly. And
Okay,
it's out of
I
necessity.
just want to make sure, so.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we buy pretty much the same, but there are a couple different little quirks based on the job, so, okay.
Yes, sir.
So the first one is fire.
Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. It is. Yes, it is. I was looking at.
You were looking at her, and then you looked at, you weren't, look at me, Scott. Never mind, go ahead.
With all due respect, Commissioner, I'd
never
rather
mind.
look at her. How's that? I'll be honest and say that.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Look at this face, Scott.
And I was going to come in and thank the three of you, at least two of you, I will, and tell you what an honor it was been to work here
Yeah,
under
okay.
your last.
The
But
face used to
I'll
look
still
like
say that.
this.
You might want to jump. Of course,
Bail us out, please.
Okay.
I've known you for a long time too, Maureen.
Yes,
You're
we
not going to
have.
jump in on this conversation, are you?
I'm going to stay very neutral.
That's probably okay.
That's probably good.
We'll start again. Good morning, Commissioners. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Public Safety, requests your approval to purchase 73 XPX 6000 XE 700 800 Model 2.5 portable two-way radios plus accessories, and 126 APX 6500 700 800 enhanced mobile radios from Motorola Solutions in the amount of $1,068,348.71. The radios will be purchased off the Baltimore City contract that was awarded to Motorola. The cost of this purchase will be covered by a combination of Assistance to Firefighter Grant, the AFG program funds, and county funds already contained in the approved budget, so no additional funds should be required. And I will turn it over to Scott.
Commissioners, as Ms. Dunn just shared, this is the proposed purchase of radios that involves the Assistance to Firefighter Grant funds that we were so fortunate to be awarded. I feel for full transparency, we need to address the change in the cost. The program did not anticipate or had no way of anticipating some of the cost increases that took place after the application was submitted. In a nutshell, the primary culprits of the price increase were a less than anticipated discretionary or additional discount as a result of the bulk order, a very, very small, I'm going to say about $1,400 self-imposed increased cost. We changed the color of the housing to a high visibility public safety green, but the primary culprit is an unexpected increase across the board in the product, which I'm sure you've heard from almost everyone's presented to you that the prices have gone up unannounced, unexpectedly, and in some cases by double digits. The good news is, if you do the simple math, the Assistance Firefighter Grant still provides us with a 75% discount in these radios that the county would otherwise foot the entire bill for. So that's why there is a undeniable change in what was presented to the board. I believe it was December of '21 is when we came before you to apply for the grant, and we laid out this anticipated budget. But there's no question this is still a substantial benefit to the county. And to Commissioner Lance's question, we started as far as the two different and what's for what. This is the Assistance to Firefighter Grant, which means it can only be used for fire EMS. Law enforcement radios cannot be purchased or funded with this money. And there's other restrictions as well. Portable radios can only be for approved riding positions. They can't be issued to people, like fire chiefs and EMS captains. And the mobiles obviously have to be for department-owned and operated emergency apparatus. You can't put them in, say, a privately owned vehicle because the volunteer chief needs a mobile or portable or something like that. So it's very restrictive. I would say respectfully, I think we maximized what we were eligible for, and we were very pleased that the monies were awarded. So as Ms. Dunn said, we're here to ask you to please approve us to make the proposed purchase.
So are these are the top of the line, right? I mean,
sir.
this is the state of the art that we're getting, because we're going to have these a while.
Yes, sir.
And we pride ourselves in making sure all of our personnel in public safety have the best equipment that they can get. We've always done that in the 8 years that we've been here. So this comes with all the bells and whistles, right? I know that there are the lapel mics and all of that come with these.
They do, Commissioner, and I will be the very first person to tell you that these are the same standard that every other portable radio has been issued. This is not the enhanced $500-some radio that is of current discussion that I know there's interest in switching to. This is the I think it's a $102, the standard lapel.
So, okay, which is
the same everyone else has.
I understand that, but because this is grant monies, why wouldn't we try to get the best? I mean, these, and I've got a little bit of experience with these lapel
Sure.
mics. I know our folks are wearing the radios inside of their protective gear,
Understood.
but that's kind of tough to do. The lapel mics are outside of the protective gear for obvious reasons. If you put them in an IDLH,
All right.
I shouldn't be using acronyms. Right. In an immediate dangerous life hazard
Right.
situation, don't the new lapel mics have the ability to hit the emergency button without getting inside of your turnout gear?
No, sir.
And the other ones do or don't? Explain that to me, because I'm not sure.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost we have to recognize that this request was submitted before there was any discussion about any kind of a transition. So there was no way to anticipate any kind of a change. But I think more to the point is this completes the standard transition that everybody else in the county
Okay, well, I'm not interested in. You're missing my point. I think I'm asking about, are we getting the best that's out there now?
I will
'Cause
tell.
I'm not so sure that we are. That's
And
why I'm.
I'll be very candid, a commissioner, and say this standard issue, there is a more enhanced microphone, or it's called a remote speaker mic, that is available. And we have actually proposed a county-wide transition for all the portables. But I cannot sit here with all due respect and suggest that we provide a higher level of product for somebody, a limited number than everyone else, the standard used. I know Chief Robinson has shared, and I'm sure he'll be happy to address it, that there has been a change in their SOPs, is that the right term? Yeah. As far as how they are to wear the devices. But unless we are going to commit to the other 14 departments, the 12 of the 14 departments, that we're going to give them an equal protection, I struggle to give them, or to suggest that we do for one or two departments and not everybody.
But wouldn't this be the start of doing that? If we start, obviously we're not going to be able to get everybody up to snuff just like that.
Sure.
But as we purchase these, I would think it would be common sense to get the best for our people.
And I think the best, and Commissioner, if I may, I think the best way to address that is we're already say 100. I think the number I came up was $191,000 higher in out-of-pocket expense than was anticipated. So obviously there was a hesitation to exacerbate that by another.
In my mind, when it comes to our folks in in dangerous situations, I don't care what the price tag is.
Appreciate that.
I've
I
been there,
respect that.
done that, lived it. They need the best that they can possibly have, and that's what we always have done here, whether it be law enforcement or public or fire, EMS. Public safety is our number one priority as electeds. So we should be getting the best, period. So if these enhanced mics are the thing of the future and they're going to be the best, because I understand they're weather resistant, they're much easier to hit the emergency button, which is huge. Channel capabilities without reaching inside a turnout gear, especially when you're, Scott, you've been there too, in an environment where, you know, things are tight and you're crawling and whatever. It seems to me that that's the best. So why would we not be going after that and do it in stages? I'm not suggesting we get everybody the same right away, but if we've got the opportunity to use grant monies to upgrade our equipment, get new equipment, let's get the best that's on the market.
Appreciate that, Commissioner. And just the only point of clarification is this will not change how much grant funds we get. The $797,027 is fixed, so any increased
Okay,
cost
well,
would be county
will-
borne, just
will
for
be ours.
clarification.
I don't, again.
And I respect what you're sharing, Commissioner. Absolutely.
Again, the money's, for me, money's no object. The sheriff's been in here asking for the best when it comes to, you know, the vests, and you guys know this. We always get the best. You
What's
guys,
the cost difference?
if we were to up, and I don't know what, it's probably going to delay it a little bit too, because, you know, with the way equipment is these days, it takes, what's it taking, 3.5 years to get a car now or something?
Well,
'Cause
Commissioners, to
I'm
add
picking on you now because you're in the back, but anyway.
To add context as Commissioner, we did ask that question as far as the order, and some of these proposed items to be purchased, we're looking at next summer for delivery. We're looking at 30 weeks delivery from Motorola Solutions.
Well, still, I think we should have the best on our folks, and I don't think this is the best. I think it's average, and I can't accept average on our firefighters. I can't.
Understood.
I know it's getting toward the end. Agree with Commissioner Wance. I think we should look into what the additional cost would be.
Sure.
What the length of time would be to get the better microphone and unit. I just think it makes sense. We should at least look into it.
Absolutely.
And you're right. If we put people in dangerous situations, which what the job entails, they should have the best equipment out there to help them out with. I agree as well. I'm inclined to say let's put this on hold till we get that additional information.
Okay.
And come back. I don't know if you'll be coming back before us or the next board, but I think it's worthwhile to look into that first before we make this purchase.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do have a tendency to agree with my two colleagues here that we've done this for the police. We need to do this for the fire, and I would love to see, what it would be, what are our alternatives on this. To do that, we put it on a future agenda, I guess, or come back when.
Does it affect, is there a time period for the grant funding?
2 years.
Deb? I
2
guess.
years that we're allowed to use it.
Got to use it within a period. I mean, even if we commit to the contract, I would think we'd be within the
Yeah.
funding, right?
Well, we have to complete the project, so I need to go, I don't have the grant with me. I don't remember if we had a year or 2 years, Scott. I need to go back and look at that. Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll look at that too. I think that would be part of the decision as well, especially if we're so far out already on receipt of the product. I think we have to implement in the grant period. So we need to have those radios in hand and distributed.
Okay, well, because it seems like it's time sensitive, I'm asking it to come back before us. We've got 2 sessions left. So it shouldn't be that difficult to
Not
get
at all.
the information from Motorola Solutions.
Not at all.
What this means to upgrade to those top of the line items. So I would like this to be back before us.
I'll
Understood.
give you 3 days.
The only thing I have to say at that point, Commissioners, is please note that this current quote has an expiration, and we obviously have no control over if it expiring and asking for a new quote, if that would change the cost. I just want to put that
I
on the table.
appreciate that too, Scott, but I don't want to be sitting here saying, we and I hate to use this analogy, but, in order to get this grant money and get within the time frame, let's get the Chevys. But we could get the Cadillacs. I'm having trouble with that when it comes to public safety.
Understood.
That's all.
And I hope I haven't said anything that implies that the timing or the time has something to do with it. It's
absolutely
strictly a
not.
cost issue.
No, but I know how easy, and I know what a great reputation you have with Motorola Solutions. And I know that you can make a phone call and probably get somebody on the horn and say, we need a price like yesterday because now we're doing this.
I appreciate that, Commissioner, and I will say it, that's only because of the outstanding colleagues that we have on the other side, that I'm confident we can have a price back to you ASAP.
Okay.
So if there's time for us to appear even next week, if that's possible,
That would
we
be
can be
great.
back. Or
yeah,
what is next
we're-
week? That's not going to happen, is it?
Thanksgiving.
We
We're
We're
meeting on
meeting next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep.
So I don't know if you can do that. And then we're not meeting then to the next
Tuesday,
Thursday, but
no.
I think, I don't think it's too much to ask. That's Friday and Monday. That's 2 working business days,
Understood.
2.5. It's only 9:30.
Just had a budget fly in.
No pressure.
There may be additional information from budget.
I'll just sit here.
Thanks, Chair.
I just had 2 questions or I guess maybe it's just 1 question for clarification purposes. So, listening to the conversation, are we looking to replace all of the lapel mics for 14 stations or just 2? The other 12 were replaced in the last 2 years, so they're brand new, but it's with the $102 one, not the $500. So I just want to make sure I get the pricing right.
Just this going forward.
Just the 2 stations.
Yes, because I would love to do the other ones, but based on this grant, maybe you're onto something.
I wasn't trying to suggest. I just wasn't sure because I know Scott had mentioned that the AFG money will not change.
Right.
There is the capital funding for radios that's in the capital fund, but it would mean replacing brand new equipment that we just received in the last 12 months for
That's-
12 stations.
That's fine, but that brand new equipment is. Listen, I know the industry's ever changing. We buy these mics and probably in 2 years they're going to have, another version of it. But I'm not so sure about that because the radios now have pretty much stabilized in the way in which they operate and the good thing, besides the colors and stuff, we got all that. But maybe we need numbers on way to go. Maybe we need numbers on replacing that too.
We'll
and
have that
say to
for you as
Motorola,
well.
hey, we just bought these mics from you, but what's the possibilities of getting all of them upgraded with a trade-in or whatever? I don't know. Maybe there's some departments that need them that can't afford to do what we can do. We can afford it. I know we can. So,
You'll have your numbers, Commissioner. I'm sure.
yes, well done. Thank
Oh,
you.
no.
very-
just to domino effect.
I'd
then.
like to see both options. I'd like to see what the numbers would be to upgrade all of them and upgrade just these, just so we can see
Sure.
which ball we'd like to throw in the air.
Sure.
And what would the ones that we just purchased last year or 2 years ago, what is the I guess the date that they would be replaced?
I think something of that ilk, Commissioner, there really isn't a legitimate average life expectancy because one department could be destroyed in use, in the service, as the Commissioner shared. They're exposed, they could be damaged 3 weeks after they're issued.
Okay.
Others that are maintained might last years. So I think that small accessory is something very difficult to have an accurate life expectancy, if you will, or useful life expectancy.
Yeah, which is another good point because I think the ones we got, I don't think they're water. I've had one on, and I don't think they're water. I think they're water repellent. They're not water resistant.
I believe they are, Commissioner, but I think that the fundamental difference is the devices we're talking about provide the remote access to the radio's controls where the current device does not. It is a remote speaker mic,
Okay.
it doesn't have the channel control or those kinds of on it.
All right,
But you'll
well,
have those numbers.
Again,
Now,
again, bottom line, we shouldn't be sacrificing a safety issue here if that's what the best is right now.
Understood.
We need to outfit our public safety personnel with the best, period.
Outstanding.
Was this a
And
top?
if we got to dip into something to do it, then we're going to dip. Or I'm going to try to get the other 4 to dip.
Was this a topic at ESAC? Came up.
May have been mentioned.
Okay.
But it's also something that I've been advised of previous to that.
Okay.
You know, I do hang around a fire station every now and then.
I hear complaints about that all the time.
You know, I was going to say something nice about you, but you know, I'm on the fence now. No, I think it's just, and I've seen other jurisdictions make some moves too, and I don't want to compare ourselves to other jurisdictions. We need to do the best.
Okay. Well, you have a homework assignment. I guess we're going to have to look at this and come back on it. So.
Say, Taylor, you usually come in here ways to save money, not to spend more money.
I didn't want it to be a point of confusion thereafter. Are we getting prices for 14? Are we getting prices for 2? Are we getting prices for 12? And then I just want to follow up as well.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes. The next item on the agenda, what Scott was going to go into, is the sheriff portables, correct?
Mobiles,
Mobiles.
yes.
Oh, I do it backwards every time. The sheriff mobiles. So if we were just funding wise, if that one is approved, that one's coming out of the capital funding, then a transfer, if you decide to replace all the lapel mics at the next session, then we definitely will need a transfer. No question about it. So
Well, let's
I don't
see
know the
what-
magnitude yet, but one will be required.
Let's see what the numbers, let's see what the math does. You
Okay.
know. Get the calculators out and let's see what we can do. And
have numbers.
tell that to Motorola. We're a pretty good customer with Motorola.
Yes, we are.
I would think.
And they treat us as such, Commissioner.
Yeah,
I think they deserve to
somebody
hear
there
that.
at one of those desks would say, "Oh, okay. Well, let's see what we can do, Mr. Campbell."
Message received, Commissioner.
Okay.
The only other, now the next question, and then I apologize if you have to formally table this or something until we come back, but the next is conditional upon what we just proposed, the proposed purchase of the mobile radios. As Taylor shared, it was based on assumed available funding. So obviously, it's your discretion whether we move forward or whether you want to not even entertain that at this time.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, yeah,
It's right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The next item, Commissioner, is a proposed purchase, as you had asked, about fire versus law enforcement.
Oh, okay. So this is law enforcement radios
Yes, sir.
next.
Yes.
You want to officially
They don't
get
have to
us
be as
into
good,
there?
do they?
Pardon?
Law enforcement doesn't have to be as good, does it?
You want to get us into this officially? So
Yes, yes.
The
So
guys in the back have just.
we will wait to hear back from you next week on this one, and we are going to go ahead and move ahead to law enforcement mobile radios and accessories. And that is going to be, Maureen, you're still here, and Scott, I guess you're still here, and Taylor, don't run away. So let's move ahead with police.
Well, what you're saying is you want to wait to see. Go ahead.
I do not. To be candid, I suggest we go ahead and act on this with the understanding that the options you're going to hear may require you to move some monies around to make it happen. I believe there will be
Now-
approximately $48,000 left in the existing budget if you make this purchase. So I know that'll be enough if we only replace the two departments that will receive portables in what was proposed today. If, as Taylor said, the decision is to replace all of them, then you will need to move money from somewhere because that's a much larger
Sure.
unexpected
So
expense.
then I can, so then what you're telling us is we can make the motion now to go ahead with the purchase of the fire radios with
No.
the new mics.
No, sir, unless it's feasible to do that without a price. I do not have an exact price for you. I don't know how you could do that.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah.
let's just go ahead with the sheriff. Is
Right,
what-
this is a separate,
Right, we have the
the
sheriff.
next agenda item to buy mobiles for the sheriff's office. My point is, that was put together with the assumption that if the first proposed purchase was approved, we looked at how much funding would be available and what would be our purchasing capability. So what I'm sharing is there are funds available to make this purchase. It would leave approximately $48,000, I believe, in the CIP for this general replacement of or upgrade of radios.
Okay.
I am very confident, based on the $400 additional cost per mic, that there's enough money without moving anything around if you decide to upgrade the remote speaker mics as for the two departments are going to get them for the AFG.
I got you. Okay. All right, well, let's look at all the possibilities there. Okay, now.
So with that, you would like us to present to you this proposed mobile radio purchase for the sheriffs?
Yeah,
I think we
Okay.
need to hear it, yes.
yeah.
We are requesting your approval to purchase 130 APX 6500 enhanced 7/800 megahertz radio, mobile radios and accessories from Motorola Solutions in the amount of $677,214.20. These radios will be purchased off the Baltimore City contract that was awarded to Motorola, and this cost has been approved in the FY23 budget, so no additional funds should be required.
And this, Commissioners, again, was considered the next priority for this planned multi-fiscal year upgrade of all public safety radios. The AFG funding allows us to expedite that, and that was part of the application, that if we got this federal funding, we could speed up, if you will, how long it took to make the change. This is the next phase based on the AFG.
Okay. Are these the top-of-the-line radios for
Absolutely.
law enforcement?
Absolutely. There's no accessories or anything involved. This is the Apex 6500 is the standard state-of-the-art mobile radio. There are no accessories to upgrade it to.
Okay. Okay.
And there you have these gentlemen who can tell you whether they find it, adequate, sufficient, excellent. They can speak for themselves.
Thumbs up.
2 thumbs up from law enforcement.
Okay.
So-
And for clarity, this is actually, even though these radios are for law enforcement only, it is the same radio that's used in fire.
Right,
The
they're
mobile
just-
radios are standard across the board.
Right.
It's the portables that vary, depend on the
Yeah.
discipline.
Yeah. Okay. So can we just do this one? Does this affect I'm getting a little bit confused. Does this affect the entire grant? Can we just make?
This has
This
nothing
has
to do
no
with the
effect
grant.
on the
Okay,
grant.
this,
No,
okay.
this is
Then we can
census
all right,
effect.
fine.
100% county
Got it.
funds.
Never mind. Okay.
Okay,
Do I hear a motion?
yeah, I'll make the motion. The Board of Commissioners approve the proposed purchase of 130 mobile radios and accessories from Motorola Solutions in the amount of $677,214.20.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Thank you.
Does that mean I have to thank the three of you next Tuesday when I come back? Or is it,
You'll be back.
You may say something next Tuesday.
I hope you can be back next Tuesday. If not, Scott,
No,
that Thursday after is fine too. But I'd like you to get in front of us before we're out
There's
of
no
here.
question, Commissioner. I'm very confident Ms. Tinney will turn this around like that. She always does. She's very responsive.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, let's go to the purchase to vehicles now, leaving radios, and we're looking, Reed, I believe you're up front, and Kim Robertson with purchasing, to look at purchase of 5 2023 Ford Edge vehicles.
Good morning. The Office of Procurement in cooperation with Fleet Management requests your approval to purchase 5 2023 Ford Edge vehicles from Heritage Fleet Services Incorporated in the amount of $182,025 from, and this follows a Howard County contract. This amount is within the approved budget and no additional funds should be necessary.
Commissioners, these 5 vehicles will replace 5 current vehicles in the county fleet. Upon arrival of these new units, we will decommission and sell the existing vehicles through auction.
These vehicles are available?
No, I don't expect us to receive them for another about 9 months.
What's a Ford Edge vehicle? What are we purchasing?
Right?
Trucks?
It's just on the edge.
Is that a truck? Is that a SUV? Or?
SUV.
It would
Okay.
be in between like an Escape and an Explorer.
Okay. I try not.
They're going to go in the pool, I guess, right? The vehicle
Correct.
pool for various people to use wherever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is anybody else giving better ETAs than Ford? I'm not trying to get into the debate about what's better, but is
Thanks for the picture.
is somebody is somebody? I mean, good grief, we're a year out of the really bad parts of the pandemic now, and one would like to assume that.
What?
I went by that. There's a sign shop down on Route 50, on Route 404, right off of 50. There was about 30 Fords sitting there the other day. They put the striping on for the various police departments on the shore. I'm telling you, there were 30 of them sitting in there. Somebody's getting vehicles.
Yes.
Or are they back ordered from last year? I guess.
More than likely they are. So vehicles that were ordered in 2021 are still rolling in. There's no preference for manufacturer. I think they're all in the same boat as far as ETAs for vehicles. At the moment, right now though, Ford is one of the only manufacturers that's accepting orders for 2023 models.
Well, there's your answer on that one. Okay.
Makes it a no-brainer.
Yeah, it kind of does. It's just crazy to me that they can't. I mean, I'm seeing more and more car carriers on the road as I travel around too. So that's a hopeful sign. But
It's coming back slowly, but there's still a piece here or there not available, and it just holds up everything. And this is happening across the board. I don't care what you're buying. That one hold-up piece, it just delays the putting the final piece together. And
yeah, I don't
What
know.
I'm, what I'm hearing from manufacturers is that they're expecting the market to sort of stabilize in 2024. Throughout all this in the market variables, I've learned that I cannot make any promises. So that's the information they're giving me, but
Yeah, it's,
until we see it,
well, it's always interesting. I know there's a lot of vehicles in this country, but when we were up at the Ford plant in Dearborn, there was one truck after the other going off that line. I mean, they were just ripping off that line. And I'm like, where in the hell are all those trucks going? Now, that was the Lightning.
No, it was
Wasn't
the
it?
regular one. Yeah.
I thought it was the Light. Oh, no, we didn't get into the Lightning plant. These were the regular F-150s.
Oh.
And they're just one right after the other. So, we're, you know.
It's like an assembly line.
No,
There's a
not
lot
at
of-
all like that.
Okay.
Never mind.
I mean, there's
Let's
nothing
go.
we can do about it. Our hands are tied. Are bigger jurisdictions getting priority read, or you don't see that?
they are not actually.
Okay.
I've spoke to several surrounding local governments and municipalities, and we're all in this together. They've had many vehicles canceled on them or delayed, just like we have.
Okay. All right, well, I'll make the motion. We award the purchase of 5 2023 Ford Edge vehicles in the amount of $182,025 from Hertrich Fleet Services.
Second.
Okay, motion made and second. No further debate. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's move on to 450 and 550 F550 trucks.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with Fleet Management, requests your approval to purchase one regular cab F450, one extended cab F450, and one crew cab F550 from Apple Ford in the total amount of $315,905.92. This amount is within the approved budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
You realize we were purchasing these things for almost half of that just a couple years ago?
You're absolutely correct.
Wow.
If you'd like, I'll run through. So it's 3 trucks in total. The first F450 will be equipped with an enclosed utility body. This will be used by the Bureau of Roads for the transportation and installation of road signs and sign poles. The F550 will be equipped with a stake body. That will be used by the Bureau of Roads for transportation of staff, tools, and supplies to and from roads job sites. And the other F450 will be equipped with a stainless steel dump bed, a plow, and salting equipment that will be used by the Bureau of Facilities and that will be used in winter weather cleanup. These 3 trucks will be replacing similar units that are currently in our fleet, and upon arrival of the new units, we will decommission and sell the existing trucks through auction.
Already.
Same
make-
wait time?
Go ahead.
I expect these are actually going to take about a year, maybe even a little bit longer till we receive them.
Okay.
Hurry up, make the motion.
I make the motion, the Board of Commissioners award the purchase of one regular cab F450, one extended cab F450, and one crew cab F550 trucks in the total amount of $315,905.92 from Apple Ford.
Second.
They're not coming any quicker.
Well, that's easy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Go forth
Commissioners.
in order.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the installation and replacement of electrical service lines. And Andy, I guess you're up. And Murray? Oh, no.
Back again.
Okay.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Okay, the Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the installation of replacement electrical service lines, conduit, and equipment at the Carroll Highlands Wastewater Pumping Station to Control Systems 21 in the amount of $51,841.63. This award will be made via competitively bid term contract. The bid amount is within the adopted budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
Gentlemen, the Carroll Highlands wastewater pumping station is located in the eastern portion of the Freedom District service area south of Maryland 26. It was constructed in the 1970s and contains much of the original controls, control panels, and power lines from that time period. In September, the pumping station experienced a major issue with the power line feed to the control panels. Service to the facility was lost for several days, and it ran via generator power until the problem could be identified and resolved. The evaluation determined that the three-phase service lines had frayed over time and had essentially shorted out. The existing conduits were partially melted and were rendered useless. It was very fortunate for us that the problem was contained to the service lines and not further expansion into the pump station and the equipment. The service line feed has been temporarily repaired at this time and is back on BGE service. This item, as Maureen said, is for the permanent repair to the pumping station. The scope of work includes the installation of new conduit and equipment at the facility, as well as the replacement of the service lines. And the reason this cost is a little bit high is the work requires the use of extensive scaffolding inside of the pump room to reach the ceiling level. And this problem has triggered us to evaluate other pump stations that are of the same age to determine whether or not we have similar issues with that aged equipment.
Is this an underground line?
It's underground to the pump station, but once it's there, it's exposed in the conduit.
And we're replacing the part that's inside the pump station,
We are.
correct? Right, okay.
Another no-brainer, right?
Yeah, gotta have electricity.
I move we award the contract for the installation and replacement of electrical service lines, conduit, and equipment, Carroll Highlands Pumping Station to Control Systems 21, $51,841.63.
Second.
Okay, no further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0.
As long as you don't have any grinders, I'm okay.
Now we got to grind whatever we're electrifying.
Now we move to purchase replacement grinders for Snowden's Run wastewater pumping station.
Okay, we are requesting your approval to award a contract for the purchase of 2 replacement grinders for the Snowden Run wastewater pumping station to JWC Environmental in the amount of $30,028. This award will be made via a single source, and the bid amount is within the adopted budget, and no additional funds will be necessary.
So this wastewater pumping station was also constructed in the late 1970s, and it has a very unique dual wet well configuration that needs 2 grinders. Essentially, the influent wastewater stream reaches a splitter, and instead of having one common wet well, there's actually 2 smaller wet wells. Each has its own pump, and each needs a grinder to slurry up the wastewater stream. So what has happened? The first of the 2 grinders had failed some time ago, so we were able to divert the flow to the one side of the pump station configuration wet well for the past several months. That grinder has now failed as well. So as you've heard me speak in previous open sessions, the importance of the grinder pump is to basically disintegrate the incoming wastewater stream into a fine slurry mix so that there's no clogging of our pumping system during the pumping operation. So the risk that we have right now without the grinders in place is there's a chance that the pumps may clog more frequently than what they do. And it's essential for the overall good operation and efficient operation of the pump station. This item is for the purchase of those grinders only. Bureau staff will do the installation ourselves. And the replacement grinder model has an expected service lifespan of 12 to 15 years. So.
My only question is that when the first grinder stopped working, why didn't we replace that right away?
I'm not certain. We had a workaround.
Right, but from what you're saying, they're extremely important.
They are
keep everything moving and flowing. Mm-hmm. So why not replace it as soon as it broke down?
I've made my feelings clear about that for other pump stations and parts moving forward. But
yeah, if it breaks, we got to fix it right away. You know, it's interesting. Besides this, that we're obviously going to have you do, you talk about both Snowdens and Carroll Highlands being constructed in the 70s. That's 50 some years old. I never was really good in math. I got C's. I know you were good in math, but I mean is that something that is on radar, because that's getting some age on it.
Yes, we've reworked our planning tables for how we deal with our pump stations. The future board's going to hear a lot more about our planning coming up.
Okay.
We do have a lot of needs that are creeping up on us that have to be addressed. The Bureau has tended to be a reactive type bureau in years past. We're trying to change that to become more proactive for many things. There is a cost associated with that, and that's the difficulty that we have to work through.
Yeah, but that's important. I mean, Dick, you talk about clean water and everything all the time, which is obviously is very important. But treating our wastewater is also really important. And if we're doing it in 50-plus-year-old facilities, somebody better be looking at something soon.
Well, we're addressing this in the budget each year, I think, putting money in to deal with those, correct?
The
Obviously,
rates-
here it
We're
is.
The rates
self-funded.
cover the
Yeah,
all the work that utilities do, so.
I mean, our budget analysts know that these things are aging. We're adding more money, I would hope, to the budget for this to come through. And this is what we're just addressing now. Well, at least we have the funds set aside, knowing this is happening, going to happen.
We have revamped our planning schedule. We have some high priority items that we want to work towards that are very aged. And as I said a few minutes ago, the next board will hear about those in full detail moving forward.
And thank you for that.
And my staff does an excellent job in keeping these older stations in good operating shape and condition. And hats off to them, but they are getting very old in some instances.
Yeah, certainly hats off. I mean, that sort of like when we buy, it's not the same, obviously not the same level, but when we look at buying trucks when they get 100,000 miles on them, well, I can't imagine the miles on these two wastewater treatment plants that were built in the 70s. So we got to start a higher look, and I'm glad that you're doing that.
We are.
'Cause, our folks shouldn't have to try to find parts for a Model T Ford.
Yeah, understood. And we have swapped out some of the major components as years have gone by, but some of the shell building and a lot of the cabinets and control panels and so forth are the original pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I had the honor of, I guess it was an honor, the opportunity, I guess, to look at the new wastewater treatment plant down in St. Michael's. And man, that's some unbelievable technology that is incredibly more efficient. Doesn't take as much to operate, obviously. And you can see the pride in the guys that operate this thing because it's new. So sea level there, different, but still the same line of thinking. These things are important, and to keep putting Band-Aids on old things that's troubling. So I'm glad you're looking at it, not so.
Did you get a chance to sample the water coming out?
And I did not. They wanted me to take a dip, and I refused to do so. So anyway.
Well, if it's really clean, it should be.
a very brief side note: the Hampstead wastewater treatment plant, the upgrade that you guys attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for last October, it is working fantastically well. The water that's being discharged into both Piney Run and Deep Run is meeting all standards that we have to meet. Staff is very proud of that wastewater plant, and it's running incredibly well.
Yeah.
So.
As they should be.
That's a good example, because you're right. And I gave the example of St. Michael's, and I forgot about the one in Hampstead. But I haven't been back to check on it, but I'm glad you gave us that, because same thing, the pride that you see in the employees that work there in these new facilities, because they are putting out perfect byproducts as a result of the treatment, is amazing. So
Stress level from staff from when the old plant was under operation to what it is now is amazing.
Yeah, good. That's great.
Okay. I move the Board of Commissioners award a contract for the purchase of 2 replacement grinders for the Snowdens Run wastewater pumping station to JWC Environment in the amount of $30,000 and $30,028.00.
Second.
Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All in favor.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have any public comment?
I have no one on the line, sir.
Well, that's
Okay.
unbelievable. I can't believe. Check the line again, Swam.
All I have on here is the dude.
We don't want to hear a comment from him.
Okay.
Well, while we're in open admin, and I didn't know that we'd have this opportunity where just the three of us were here today, I'd like to take the opportunity on a personal note just to thank you two for the great working relationship that we've had over the last 8 years. We didn't always agree, but at the end of the day, we shook hands and moved on to the next issue, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Not what it appears to be now in politics. You guys have you've become mentors to me. You've become friends. We've gotten to know one another's families, and I hope that continues because I don't want to lose track of you guys because we have made incredible strides here over the last 8 years. Just think of the stuff that we've done, from the master plan to complete comprehensive rezoning, fire and EMS, the upgrades to all of our facilities. Oh, we went through a little thing called a pandemic, and all points in between. It's been an honor to serve with you two. It really has, and I relish the memories that I'll have as a result of working with you two. So, thank you both very much. We've got a hell of a lot to be proud of.
I've accomplished a lot in the last 8 years, and it's all, you can't do it by yourself. It takes at least 2 other votes to do anything, and most time it's been 5 moving in that direction. So that is very important, and yeah, it's I love it. And I think one of the reasons I ran was some of the fighting 59th. I couldn't believe how they fought.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. We got to do better than this. I may not agree, but as you said, we walk out, okay, that's your opinion, we move on. And that's a very positive way for politics. I wish they ran that way in the state and in the country. So,
I'd say I think I've, number one, if you hear my radio thing on Sunday, you'll hear this too. I couldn't have picked 2 better people to work with for the past 8 years. You guys have been fantastic. I really have appreciated everything. I really have. And what I like the most is what both of you mentioned. We'll sit here and we'll discuss different opinions on things. When we take the vote, it's over. We move to the next item, all fresh and new, not holding grudges or anything. That's what I very much appreciate that with you two. I really do. And like both of you said, that's not the way it is everywhere. It really isn't. People go days and days with grudges against other people. I'm not talking. It's never been that way.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure working with you two for the past 8 years. I really
Thank you.
can't say more.
put that in writing. Okay.
So, yeah, anyway, I just wanted to take that opportunity without, since the three of us have been entrenched here, and you talk about schools, remember that debacle?
Oh, yeah, that was couple sleepless nights.
That's been it's just the list goes on, and we've got 2 more sessions here, and we're going to have a little reception for us on December the 1st. That's coming out. That's our last session. So you'll have an hour or 2 to stop by and either give us a little bit more of a nudge out the door or thank us. So that'll be downstairs. I think we're going to do that.
12 to 2.
But it's been just an incredible wild ride, and I appreciate again.
But
you guys.
one thing that's I think stands out more than anything is our relationship in the state. And you give you and Dennis a lot of and Nation with NACO, but the perception and where we are has changed tremendously over the past few years, and in the relationship with Baltimore, surrounding counties, it's all positive at this point, and that is one of the reasons I think we've turned things around to Carroll County isn't totally an island, but we are in a way, but yet we're willing to work with others and hear what they have to say, and they hear what we say now. So I thank you. You put a lot of work into Mako. I know that's where your heart is, and Dennis too, and so that means a lot.
Well, it was,
Okay.
coming out of the gate, it was set in stone with me, because I tell this story all the time. And 2 days in or 3 days in, when I was down with Mako,
Yeah.
right after, well, it was in 2015, and the president of the Senate came up, and Michael Sanderson introduced me to him, and he looked at me and said, "Oh, Steve Wance, how you doing? Is everybody still crazy in Carroll?" And you talk about the 59th and all the things associated with it. I'm not here to label anybody.
No,
but
just
that was the perception that we had. So to move from that time to first name basis with all of our colleagues across the state,
it's
I hope
a
that
big one.
continues. I really do. So thank you for that too, Dick. So thank you, and thank you to staff. I mean, we'll thank staff again, but we're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with. So y'all are amazing.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Luckily, there's still some of us crazy still left.
Exactly, yeah. Y'all haven't all jumped ship yet, so there you
Well,
go.
I hope they don't leave. Okay. We ready to move on to agendas, I guess. Wanda?
Do we have agendas? I mean,
Yeah, we have a couple
Two
things
more.
to do yet. Hang in there. As we move to the week of November 21st, Governor's Emergency Management Advisory Council. One of the things I was just talking about, Commissioner Wance will be there. And Tuesday, we're moving to have a board session at 9 a.m. in the morning. We're going to look at the submit a 2023 courthouse security item request. We then move to update on the health of the county. Carroll County Health Department is going to be with us, and audit an annual comprehensive financial report with our comptroller. National Association of VOCA Assistance Administrators grant application. We're going to look at leasing of vehicles that morning. Discussion and consideration of proposed resolution authorizing eminent domain in connection with the airport safety improvement project. Discussion for employment campus solar text amendment. We're going to a discussion for I-1 and C3 text amendments. And then we'll move on to requests to go to public hearing for Historic Preservation Commission. And at 2 o'clock on that Tuesday, Scott Hollinger's retirement at the Farm Museum in Westminster. There's nothing on Wednesday. Thursday, we have Thanksgiving Day. And county offices are closed for Thanksgiving on Friday. And on Sunday, November 27th, Commissioner Boucher has the podcast. And I think Commissioner Wance has invited everybody to for turkey dinner that day, staff included, I understand. Is that right?
Sure. Come on over.
All 700 employees?
Yeah, yeah.
More the merrier.
I guess I better get that 412-pound turkey instead of the 23-pound one we got. It's
412 pounds.
a big turkey.
That's a little big.
Yeah.
I don't want to meet that turkey in a dark alley.
Just a sideline, I had 11 walk through the farm the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
11 turkeys. That's
11 turkeys. And I think the young ones are still with the adults because they were single file with the large one at the back, the hen following them. But there were 11 just taking their own time walking through. So
I've seen a lot out my way, too. Well, I mean, a lot compared to what we used to see.
no, never saw any.
Yeah. How about, I'm getting off topic here, how about pheasants? You see many pheasants?
No, they're
I know.
a thing of the past.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
And quail.
And quail, yeah.
All right, let's
anyway.
get back to agenda. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Wanda. For Monday, November 28th and 29th, we have nothing on the agenda. On the 30th, we have the Planning Commission virtual, and that's Commissioner Wance.
I'm not sure that's still on the schedule. We'll have to check that, but I don't think that's there. But anyway, we'll check.
Okay, December 1st, Thursday, we're going to approve the submission of the FY24 Maryland Shelter and Transitional Housing Facilities Capital Grant application. We're looking at the first SIGO update and next steps. Glad to hear that. Additional position request, Department of Technology Services. We're looking at discontinuing of the South Carroll Trailblazer routes. We're looking at discussion on discontinuing South Carroll.
Okay.
Is that in here twice?
Well, the first discussion probably won't accomplish much, so we're going to do it again.
Okay, well, we can handle that. We're looking at the request approval for grant application acceptance award Century High School Stormwater Management retrofit. And then the grant application acceptance for Carroll County Fall 23 tree plantings. And at 4 o'clock that day, then we have Sergio's Westminster open house, Commissioner Rothstein, and 7 o'clock that evening, Catherine's cause with Commissioner Wance.
I'll be at that Sergio's event too, in case somebody wants to yap our last 2 days about making sure you're on the schedule.
And
I don't
Friday,
really care though, do I? No.
December 2nd, Carroll Realtors Legislative Luncheon, Commissioner Rothstein. And Saturday, December 3rd, Mission Barbecue VP Brunch in Westminster, Commissioner Rothstein. And
too.
also on Sunday, December 4th, our last day basically, will be Commissioner Rothstein's podcast. So,
Yep.
anything else for the good of the group?
Hey, I pulled that signing of the radios out because I don't think we should sign
Oh.
something we didn't purchase yet.
Thank you, sorry.
Well, we didn't. It's only for the.
Okay.
It's only for the Grand
did I
Poobah to
sign
sign,
that?
but I didn't want it in there. So,
Good job.
Missed that.
see, I'm paying attention to detail, even up to the last 17 days.
Do we have anything else? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
This could be tough.
You might have to second this yourself, Commissioner.
I'm thinking that. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Now, with the quorum, can we pass this now?
Yeah.
We may have to
That's the
stay
weird-
here all day.
That's the weird thing, that when you have 3, which is a quorum,
Yep.
to pass something, so.
Okay.
I think we should filibuster.
Okay, Senator Wance.
Council,
December 1st.
Meeting closed.